Okay, welcome back to another 1986 Topps Wax Pack baseball card opening. Sorry I didn't put out a video last week, but I had some things going on. Work was really rough. I touched on a lot of things last time about the box. I love this box. This is my favorite set of baseball cards. I understand that everybody considers this junk wax because it was so mass produced, but you got Pete Rose on the front. He was really popular back in this is 86 Topps, but again, I like to point out it represents the 1985 season. As he was approaching Ty Cobb's all-time record, Topps put out the Pete Rose years cards. Hopefully we find some of those in here. Let's see, so Pete Rose, he was the 1973 National League MVP. So this is represents 85 season. Dwight Gooden was the 85 Cy Young Award winner. Brett Saberhagen won in the American League. There's Don Mattingly. He was the 1985 AL MVP. And George Brett, I believe he was runner-up. Always love these cards on the bottom. So, like I pointed out last time, 85 AL MVP, 85 NL MVP. And this is a trip with Reggie here. I said Pete Rose was the 73 NL MVP. There's your 73 AL MVP, Reggie Jackson. So let's pop out 4 more packs of these. And see how this goes. Always remember, I am the baseball card opening guy who likes to take it slow. So if you don't like long conversations about baseball and baseball players, then I might not be your taste. Spring Fever baseball card. Tony Phillips with the A's. Tony was a good run scorer. Expos leaders with Andre Dawson. I touched on Andre in the last 86 video. Mel Hall with the Indians. Mark Davis. He's a future Cy Young Award winner as a reliever. Okay, so this is right when he was his first season, switched over to a reliever. Tim Burke, Denny Gonzalez, Giants leaders. Let's see. Greg Minton is on the front. Continuous service since July 21st, 78. I couldn't have told you who that was. Cliff Johnson. We saw him on another one of my videos several years ago. That 1985 Topps record breaker for most pinch home runs. Ken Landreau. 31 game hitting streak. I think it was 1980. Frank Viola is your 88 AL Cy Young Award winner, 24 games. Dickie Thon. Dave Kingman I personally love Dave Kingman. A lot of people talk crap about Dave Kingman for his attitude and his strikeouts. Sorry about the glare, guys. But Dave Kingman, he and Mike Schmidt were your premier home run hitters from the mid 70s to the mid 80s. Dave Kingman finished with 442 home runs, and I think he would have gotten 500. He was very similar to Jose Canseco. He got kind of blackballed at the end because, well, he'd sent a rat in the mail to a reporter, this female reporter, and left a real sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. But Kingman's last 3 seasons he played with the A's, and he hit 35 home runs, 30 home runs, and then 35 home runs again, and ended his career with that 35 home run season. And that was the all-time record for a final most home runs in a final season until David Ortiz broke it. I think he had 38, I believe. But so yeah, his last 3 seasons he hits 100 home runs, drives in 300 runs for the A's, and didn't get picked up. He went on to play in that senior baseball organization that didn't last long. There it is. I've told you before. This is my favorite baseball card. I'm serious. I know that probably blows people's minds, but this card, this was the year I started collecting baseball cards, and everybody wanted this card. They wanted to pull this out of the pack, and the nostalgia I have when I see this card and remembering pulling it out of a pack and how it made me feel, I really think is what hooked me and made me a lifelong collector and baseball fan. This guy was 20 years old. He had won the Rookie of the Year the season before at 19 years old, led the majors with 276 strikeouts, and instead of having a sophomore slump, he comes back and has arguably the most dominant pitching season of all time. I mean, it's definitely in the argument, especially few people who care about WAR. I mean, he had, I think, the highest WAR of anybody in modern era, around 13 WAR, 24-4, 1.53 ERA, 268 strikeouts, 16 complete games, 8 shutouts, and his 1.53 ERA is second to Bob Gibson, the lowest ERA in the integration era since 1947. Yeah, just the back of this card, very nostalgic. You can see in italics, there's the strikeout totals I told you about, 24-4 record. Just unbelievable baseball pitching season. Willie Wilson. Ooh, look at that crease across there. My goodness gracious. That's crazy. I'll be honest with you, when I think of Willie Wilson, I think of a few things. I think of his triples. He had what was it, 144 triples, I think, in his career. Something's telling me that's the number he had. Anyway, a lot of triples. And his 1980 season, where he had 230 hits. You know, he's a switch hitter. He got 100 hits from each side of the plate, and he led the league. And I think he led in runs scored and hits that year, and triples probably, but he got a batting title in 82 or 83, I believe. Let's see, 82 he did get a batting title, 332, but yeah, he led the league with 133 runs, 230 hits. He did lead in triples. That's just a crazy season he had. Willie Wilson finished with maybe 600 stolen bases. Mike Heath. Okay, as I always tell you, I will try to pick up the pace, but that one just happened to have Dave Kingman and Dwight Gooden in there, and I can't help but talk about those guys. All right, here we go. Alan Wiggins. Oh, this is going to get on my nerves. Al Bumbry. I think he was a Rookie of the Year with the Orioles, maybe. Yeah, he definitely played with the Orioles. I believe Al was Rookie of the Year. Damaso Garcia. Bob James. Mark Brown. Marty Bystrom. Come on now. Jerry Davis. Dennis Oil Can Boyd. He was a popular pitcher, a lot, to do with his nickname, but he could pile up some strikeouts at times. Let's see, Bill Schroeder. Danny Cox. I know Danny Cox, I think he won 18 games one year. Phil Niekro, the knuckleballer. We talked about Phil before, and we got that record breaker card where he was the oldest man to ever hurl a shutout. He got his 300th win in the process. That was this season. And Phil and his brother Joe are the winningest brother combination in Major League history. They just barely beat Gaylord and Jim Perry. Phil was a 300 game winner, just like Gaylord Perry. Sal Butera. Bob Kearney. Chet Lemon, all-star center fielder. Eddie Milner. Okay, now, come on, baby. I really do want to get those Pete Rozier's cards. Show you one of those. I think later they did it with Nolan Ryan, where they show you all of his previous cards of his Topps career. Kevin Bass. I talk about playing wiffle ball and pretending I'm some of these guys. Well, I like the Astros too. So a lot of times I was Kevin Bass. He could pop you 20 home runs. Playing in the Astrodome, that's not anything to sneeze at. Johnny LeMaster. Ed Wana. the way I always pronounced it. Brian Harper, solid ball player. Bert Blyleven, off center, but great pitcher. Bert had, as everybody knows, one of the best curveballs. He finished third all-time in strikeouts, 3,701. He had 60 shutouts. Just barely missed getting 300 wins, 288 wins. And that caused him to wait a little longer than I think he should have to get into the Hall of Fame. Broke into the bigs as a 19-year-old and then ended up way later in his career, one of his last seasons, leading the league with, I think he was 17-5 and led the league with 5 shutouts. I think he led the league in strikeouts this year. Let's see. Yeah, it was split between the Indians and the Twins. So he had, 206 strikeouts. Led the league, the American League. Bert Blyleven, one of my faves. Johnny Grubb. Wow, talk about off center. This is ridiculous. Sean Dunston. That's the way everybody pronounced it. Kurt Young. Carl Best with the K. Tim Stoddard. You could tell he was playing with Goose Gossage, that Fu Manchu. Lonnie Smith, another solid ball player. Look at there, 82, led the National League in runs scored with 120. Batted .307. Then the next year, batted .321. He was a solid ball player. Hubie Brooks, another good shortstop. Von Hayes, I think he led the league in doubles and extra base hits, maybe tied extra base hits one year. Jackie Moore and Bill Stein. One pack to go. The off-center cards and crease cards. So annoying. Uh-oh. It's a little sneak peek there. Dick Hauser. Hal McRae. Hal, he, I think it was the 1976, was that it? The 76 batting title. He lost to George Brett, his teammate, and they went down to the very last day, basically the last at bat for George Brett, I think, yeah. And whoever they were playing, McRae accused them of not aggressively playing the ball and allowing George Brett, I think, beat it out. I don't know, infield single or I don't know, but anyway, yeah, he definitely. It was in the papers. I remember reading about it, and he was really upset. But Hal was a stud himself. Led the league with 54 doubles one year, 133 RBIs in 82, and over 2,000 hits in his career. Just a really, really good good hitter. Cesar Cedeno. Listen, they thought he was going to be Willie Mays when he came up. No joke. This guy could do it all. He was very, very young. So look, he was born February 51 and he started in 1970. So he was 19 years old when he came up. And he had power. He was fast. Could steal the heck out of some bases. As you see right here, he had 549 steals, but 199 home runs at the time, 970 RBI, 1,000 runs, 2,000 hits. He didn't quite, obviously, pan out to be Willie Mays, but he was a stud. And now that you look back, I think some of those early years, he had a couple seasons of pretty high WAR. Jeff Calhoun, Orioles leaders. Jim Gantner. Wow, look at how off center that is. Greg Gagne. That is terrible. Eric Davis. He's one of the biggest what ifs. The what if is if he was able to stay healthy, if he was able to play, 150 games a year, there's the numbers this guy could have put up in his prime. Phenomenal. Ichiro wouldn't have been the first 50-50 guy. Just put it that way. There's no doubt about it. He still had a season where it's like 20, 25 homers, 80 stolen bases. And then he had another like 37 homer, 50 stolen base season. But he rarely played, 120 games. LaMarr Hoyt, that's the Cy Young Award winner right there. I think, what year? 83, maybe. And heck of a strikeout to walks per 9. He's just very accurate. 83 Cy Young Award winner, 24 wins there. But yeah, look at this. That year, 260 and 2/3 innings, he walked 31 guys. Pretty crazy. He's from South Carolina. I'm from North Carolina, so always kind of partial to LaMarr Hoyt. Rangers leaders with Charlie Hough on the front. Steve Balboni. Look at that stance. He's ready to smack 30 home runs a year. Strike out a bunch, especially for back then. Yeah, look at there. 36 home runs, 166 strikeouts, led the league. Still batted 243. Teams be proud of that these days. Okay. Here, speaking of studs, Kirby Puckett. Now, here's the crazy thing to me about Kirby Puckett. To me, he is. When I mentioned the what ifs about Eric Davis, this is another one I really guarantee 3,000 hits, no doubt about it. He's so consistent. But look at this. Really look at this. Okay, his rookie year, 1984, he played 128 games, 0 home runs. Okay? This year, he played 161 games, led in at-bats with 691 at-bats, 4 home runs. The dude ended up being a 30 home run. He hit 30 home runs one year. You could almost consider him a power hitter there for a minute. I don't understand that. That blows my mind. All the other guys were accused of taking PEDs. How do you make that kind of jump? All those at-bats, 557, 0 home runs, 691, 4 home runs. And then you hit 31 home runs one year, I believe. But I'm not here to accuse him. Rest in peace, Kirby Puckett. You were one of my favorite players, no doubt about it. And I love the way you played the game. You were so fun to watch. Your enthusiasm, your will to win. Just an awesome, awesome player. But that puzzles me. I can't deny that. Charlie Hough, he was on that Rangers leaders card. Knuckleballer extraordinaire. Helped with his longevity like it does with most knuckleballers. And just super consistent pitcher. Way later in his career, I think he started in 1970. Yes, he did. 1970 with the Dodgers. And he ended up, I think he's started the first game for the Marlins when they came in like in 96, I believe. I could be wrong, but I believe that. He won over 200 games. Joe Nolan and Joe Price. Well, thanks a lot, guys. I know I said a lot, and probably some other things I'll see when I watch it back. I do apologize for that, but I don't edit these anymore. These just roll, and I say what I say, and sometimes I'm wrong about little facts I say, but a lot of times I'm right. And if I'm wrong, I do try to correct it in the comments when I watch it back. But thanks so much. The last video I did was the 1985 Don Russ cards that I opened up, and my voice was cracking and going away. It was so late at night. So I believe I'm going to just go ahead and do another one of those videos to make up for that and get you a better one where my voice isn't so annoying. But as always, thanks so much for hanging out with me. I really enjoy doing this. Till next time, take care.